So let us quickly finish this, the 40th chapter of A Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court. It is 3 years later. The boss has a child who had croup. Lancelot helped her out, stayed up with him, and took his leave. And the boss has said that he never saw Lancelot again after that. So there we will continue. The doctors said we must take the child away if we would coax her back to health and strength again. And she must have sea air. So we took a man-of-war and a suite of 260 persons and went cruising about, and after a fortnight of this, we stepped ashore on the French coast, and the doctors thought it would be a good idea to make something of a stay there. The little king of that region offered us his hospitalities, and we were glad to accept. If he had had so many conveniences as he lacked, we should have been plenty comfortable enough. Even as it was, we made out very well. In his queer old castle, by the help of comforts and luxuries from the ship. At the end of a month, I sent the vessel home for fresh supplies and for news. We expected her back in 3 or 4 days. She would bring me along with other news the result of a certain experiment which I had been starting. It was a project of mine to replace the tournament with something which might furnish an escape for the extra steam of chivalry. Keep those bucks entertained and out of mischief, and at the same time preserve the best thing in them, which was their handy spirit of emulation. I had had a choice band of them in private training for some time, and the date was now arriving for their first public effort. This experiment was baseball. In order to give the thing vogue from the start and place it out of reach of criticism, I chose my nines by rank, not capacity. There wasn't a knight in either team who wasn't a sceptred sovereign. As for material of this sort, there was a glut of it always around Arthur. You couldn't throw a brick in any direction and not cripple a king. Of course, I couldn't get these people to leave off their armor. They wouldn't do that when they bathed. They consented to differentiate the armor so that a body could tell one team from the other, but that was the most they would do. So one of the teams wore chainmail ulsters, and the other wore plate armor made of my new Bessemer steel. Their practice in the field was the most fantastic thing I ever saw. Being ball-proof, they never skipped out of the way, but stood still and took the result. When a Bessemer was at the bat, and a ball hit him, it would bound 150 yards sometimes. And when a man was running and threw himself on his stomach to slide to his base, it was like an ironclad coming into port. At first I appointed men of no rank to act as umpires, but I had to discontinue that. These people were no easier to please than other nines. The umpire's first decision was usually his last. They broke him in two with a bat, and his friends toted him home on a shutter. When it was noticed that no umpire ever survived a game, umpiring got to be popular, so I was obliged to appoint somebody whose rank and lofty position under the government would protect him. Here are the names of the nines. Bessemers: King Arthur, King Lot of Lothname, King of North Gallus, King Marsil, King of Little Britain, King Labour, King Pelham of Listegres, King Bagdagamus, King Ptolemy Laphentis. Ulsters: Emperor Lucas, King Logris, King Marholt of Ireland, King Nentres of Garlet, King Melodes of Lyons, King of the Lake, King Morganor, King Mark of Cornwall, the Snowden of Syria, umpire Clarence. The first public game would certainly draw 50,000 people, and for solid fun would be worth going around the world to see. Everything would be favorable. It was balmy and beautiful spring weather now, and nature was all tailored out in her new clothes. And that is the end of chapter 40.